don't forget the money, man.
What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Wednesday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. I hope each and every one of you are doing great. Even though right now times just aren't really that great, things are a little chaotic. The world is kind of crazy and hectic. But, that's life for us right now. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all these videos when they're new. You could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word. That would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help, and support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. So today, Canadian prison interviews number 13. We got my dog Ash. Ash is coming straight from Nevada. And
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I've been seeing you in my comments a lot, and I appreciate the daily blessings. I appreciate the comments and the fact that you support the channel. And, I've heard a little bit about your story, and, it inspired me to bring you on because I think that your story needs to be heard. It's a perspective that's not always heard. I think a lot of the time when you see these prison channels and stuff, it's always one-sided. And, one side is not represented very often. And you've actually been on both sides. So that's why I felt like it's really important to have you on. So why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and, a little bit about your background, where you're from, and kind of what got you to where you are today.
For sure, yeah. My name's Ashton Cox Mahoney. I go by Ash, DBC Ash on YouTube. I was born in Northridge, California, November 14th, 91, and moved out to Las Vegas, Nevada with my grandparents in 1998 in April. My mother, she was shot and murdered on Christmas Eve in 98. When we moved out here earlier in the year, my grandma, she begged her to come with us, but she just kept saying that, her boyfriend would kill her or kill her family, and so she wouldn't leave him. She was scared to leave him. So that's why she didn't come out here with us. And, so I just, I was raised by my grandparents. Still live with them. They're still alive, thank God. And I'm just blessed every day. So,
yeah, first of all, man, I just want to say that I'm sorry to hear that. My heart goes out to you. I couldn't imagine. And the fact that you're still here, you're able to be on my channel and talk is amazing. Because I don't know if I'd be able to hold up in that situation. And, I commend you for that, man. And, my brother was committed and convicted for 2 counts of murder, and it affected my family really negatively.
Right.
So I could only imagine how much that this would have affected your family. And the crazy synchronicity is that my brother committed his on Christmas Eve as well.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I think it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, but sometime in that time.
What year?
95.
Okay. All right.
95. And he actually just got out January 2020.
Okay.
And, he put in his time. He did his full 25 years, had no incidents on the inside. And I understand that what he did was a crappy thing. And, regardless, I'm going to love my brother, but I understand that negatively, he not only impacted my family really badly, but also another family. So why don't you just kind of explain to me how that impacted you growing up? And, obviously it led to you getting into maybe some things that you wouldn't have. Maybe if you could explain that a little bit.
Yeah. There's actually a documentary on it It's called from LA Forensics. It's called Man in a Shadow. There's a video on YouTube. That's the name of the title, Man in a Shadow. My grandma went to court for 7 years to make sure that two guys went to prison for life with no parole in California. So one guy wanted my mother's boyfriend dead and executed, and I guess my mother was just with him, and so one guy had another guy pull the trigger basically, and so both of them are in prison for life with no parole. And yeah, she went to court for 7 years to make sure that that went through. Um, how it affected me, I don't know, not much honestly. I didn't really know my mother; she wasn't around. I've been with my grandparents since I was 2 months old, like a year old. I have a bunch of notes written down. I don't know. Uh, my father, he was never in my life, and yeah, it's just been me and my grandparents. And my grandmother's had 3 children, and she's already lost all 3 children. Uh, her son in 2015, and then her other daughter in 2017. So, um, and I was real close with my aunt and uncle. But anyways, I'll just try to read off my notes and see if you get a feel like my life story or whatever.
Okay,
Um,
man.
me and my mom, my dad was already out in Vegas. Me and my mom came to Vegas when I was 2 months old. Me and my mom came back to California to my grandparents when I was like 5 months old, and my dad left before I was even 1 years old, and he left. He was out of the picture. My mother had another child, my sister, in 1994, and again, me and my mother and sister live with my grandparents, which is my mom's mom, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
and my grandfather, even though he was the stepfather to my grandmother's children, he was their dad because they've been married since they were 6 years old and young kids. But
Yeah.
so
So
anyways,
he's just as much of a dad. It
dude,
doesn't make a difference.
my
Makes no
grandpa is
difference,
fucking
you know.
awesome, bro. My
For sure.
grandfather's the best man in the world. But
100%.
anyways, yeah,
I could tell, man. I could tell just by the fact that you're standing upright and you're getting through all this like a man.
yes, sir.
I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate it, and I just
Dude, I
appreciate listening to your story. And I want you to keep going. I don't want to interrupt you because I think that it's important, but I just, man, I'm getting sad just hearing it.
no,
And
yeah,
and I know that's not what you want. And at the end of the day, I know that all of these things led up to you being stronger.
I
And
yeah.
but I want you to keep going. Sorry, man.
All right. So, anyways, like, yeah. So, she had another kid with another guy, and then he left before she was 1 years old, and then they had my brother, uh, 1995, with Jamie Navaroli, which is his father. So my mother, April Mahoney, and Jamie Navaroli were both murdered. And so yeah, and then they had my youngest sister in 1997. So I'm the eldest of four. Um, but they were them being addicts. They weren't in their lives. And so my siblings were in foster care and stuff like that when they weren't with, I guess, my mom on the weekends or with my grandparents or whatever. And when she was murdered, uh, all three of them went to my grandmother's niece to keep them in the family, right? And then uh, that's a whole nother story. There ended up being problems, and my brother, before he was not even 8 years old, they threw him away. He ended up going into boys' homes and growing up in boys' homes, so he's had a way tougher life than me. I'm blessed to have my grandparents, thank God. But yeah, it's his father who was shot. He got shot in the head, died instantly. My mom tried crawling under the truck. There's a documentary on it, Man in Shadow. Please
I'm gonna
check it
check.
out.
I definitely am 100%. I'm gonna watch it.
I mean, I got the DVD right here. I haven't really watched it in a while, and we got court documents that are that thick. So, um, But yeah, and then so I'm the eldest of four. We moved out here. I grew up out here in Henderson, Nevada since 98. I was 7 years old. Um, uh, I played a lot of baseball and basketball, and I got a bunch of baseball trophies from the time I was 7 till 13, And then probably about like 11, 12, 13 is when I started getting into skateboarding, right? And yeah, and I never had to worry about anything growing up. I might have had not had stuff that I wanted, but I had everything I needed: a roof over my head, food in my stomach, uh, an education, school education, and then
And
unfortunately,
and
go
you
ahead.
had somebody that cared that you were okay, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
important. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
important. And I relate, man. I was a baseball guy myself, and you know, I know it's not exactly the same, but you know, the thing that happened with my brother also tore my family apart. And to be honest, basically half of my family, as soon as my brother was arrested, they cut us off because they thought that their kids even knowing about it would traumatize them. So they decided to sacrifice us. And, we've been rolling dolos as a family since. And honestly, I'm happy that that happened because that part of my family obviously isn't real. And I don't really want them to be part, because, we used to go out and everything was cool and all of a sudden gone. It's
Yeah.
crazy how quickly people change in those circumstances. And, man, I honestly, I don't know how you feel. You said that your mom was saying that she wanted to get away because she was scared that he would do something.
That's why she
And
didn't. That's why she didn't come with us.
the irony is that it wasn't him. And the crazy thing is
And it
that
was all.
her intuition told her something was bad, though. Like she felt something was bad, and she knew, but she just, I think, was more to protect you guys, maybe to protect anybody else from getting hurt, except sometimes people feel it, but they don't necessarily believe it. But man, your story,
So
my heart goes out to you, bro.
thank you, brother. So since I was only 7 years old, I didn't go to her funeral, and I kind of regret that ever since. The older I got, the more I regretted it. I didn't go to the funeral. Um, the last time I saw her, she was in the hospital on a hospital bed. She was on life support for a month, and then passed away Christmas Eve. Um, but so my uncle Guy, that's the name, Guy, R.I.P. He he robbed his mom and dad. He robbed his parents, and his own mother put him in prison for 8 months, or excuse me, sorry, 8 years, uh, for robbing him. He
That's
he
tough
took
love.
every he took everything. So he did 8 years in prison for that. Um, that was before my mom. Well, he was locked up. He was in there probably for like a year or two, and then that happened. And then so he got out mid 2000, 2004, 2005. Um, Ended up coming out here eventually. Uh, my aunt, my aunt Susan, she had a child in 2005. That's my little baby cousin. Um, and my grandparents are raising her now. So she passed away in 2017 from a heart attack. And same with my uncle. He passed away in 2015 from a heart attack. And it was all because of like they were alcoholics. Both of them were alcoholics. So that and they were like early 40s, and they passed away because of alcohol and stuff like that. Um, so I don't drink alcohol. One, because of the way they used to fucking treat me. Excuse me. Uh, beat me up every now and again. My uncle, he'd start beating me up, and he'd be too drunk to realize he was hitting me too hard. I'm like, dude, can you please stop? Like, and so I'd fucking wail him one good one, and I'd take off. But
You try to do what you can.
yeah, dude. He's like, come on, it don't hurt. Boom, 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 like just over and over and over, and like,
But
dude,
it does
stop.
hurt.
my arm's getting numb.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I love my aunt and uncle, and I looked up to my aunt a little more. She was closer to me. She lived out here in Las Vegas before we moved out here. She was a high roller blackjack dealer at the Red Rock, at Sunset Station and Red Rock for 8 years each. She was in a rap music video
Oh yeah.
with Kanye West. Yeah, just in the background dealing cards. I think
That's crazy. My ex is in a Kanye West video.
I think
The
I'm trying to
the synchronicities here are
dude
crazy, bro.
dude.
They're crazy. They are. I'm not gonna lie. They're crazy.
Okay, so anyways, yeah, I've always been a good, quiet, shy kid. Um, I don't post on my social medias. I've had Facebook forever. Uh, I just recently got Instagram, so I don't even know how that shit works. Anyways,
Either do I,
uh,
other than posting a picture. Yeah.
yeah, so I tried weed for the first time at like 15 years old, 15 and a half. Uh, I was with my first girlfriend then. She ended up telling on me right before I was supposed to get my driver's license. And then we break up. We broke up and got back together like 8 times. Anyways, she ends up smoking that summer. And her mom's like all cool about it because she was cool about her drinking. And she's like, as long as I know about it, it's okay. I'm like, no, dude, you guys are hypocrite. You just told on me and now I can't get my driver's license, and then you can, and you're doing the same thing. So, anyways, but yeah, I loved her, or I thought I was in love at 15 years old.
You
And
were probably, but love. This is the thing. Love isn't forever, man. It can be. It's
yeah,
possible that it can be forever, but it's not always forever, and that doesn't mean that it's not worth it. And you're not going to learn a lot from it. Sometimes the loss of a relationship is painful, but that's when you learn the most. You know.
right, okay, yeah. So, anyways, um, I'm kind of like jumping back and forth, bro. But
That's okay, man. That's okay.
are you sure? I mean, I'm just trying to get a little bit of subscribers from this.
Brother,
Um,
I hope you get as many subscribers as possible. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna do it all for you, man. I'm gonna try
dude,
my best.
I used I used to skateboard and video me skateboarding when I was 15 years old. I wish I would have done that 10 years ago instead of trying drugs and getting on fucking drugs, you know? But everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. Um, yeah.
Well,
And so,
well, I'll
yeah.
tell you what, man. I am somebody who got caught up in the system in the worst way for the longest time. Who everybody had written off, everybody,
Yeah, I'm
and I'm
sorry.
here, and I'm here. So
Thank you.
if I'm here, anybody can be here, and I believe that.
I appreciate that so much, Matt. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I tried weed first time, 15. Uh, Cause I used to hate cigarette smoke. When my grandmother, she used to smoke cigarettes, not no more. She's, when I was around cigarettes, I covered my nose and hated it. Said I'm never gonna smoke when I get older. At 8 years old, whatever. And ended up smoking at like 17, 18 cigarettes, and still do. I'm trying to quit so bad. But anyway, so I tried
Me
weed.
too.
Yeah, everybody is, man.
Yeah.
Uh, the weed 15, 15 to 18, I tried a couple of pills a few times, a couple of lower tabs, Percocets. I think I tried ecstasy once. Fucking didn't really like that. Um, and then yeah, at 18, I ended up trying heroin for the first time because a neighbor down the street, and he didn't offer to me, but he was doing it. I said, how can I do it without doing it the way you're doing it? You know, and
Yeah.
and
I
yeah, and ended up smoking heroin for almost 10 years, and I haven't no more for almost 2 years, the past 2 years, thank God. So, but
Thank God, man. That's amazing. I know the heroin devil. I was addicted for 10 years myself. For the first 9 years, 9 months, I smoked it or snorted it only. The last 3 months, I smashed it. I was doing speedballs. I was really risking my life. And we're both blessed to be here, man. Especially with all this fentanyl stuff nowadays. It's crazy.
yeah,
It's
I
crazy, man.
yeah, I couldn't imagine using. I'd probably OD, honestly, because
Yeah.
my ex, she overdosed, and again, another alcoholic, and we were smoking. And how the fuck, like, she passed away, bro, and I'm gonna get there, but it's fucked up, man. I've lost everybody that's close to me and all my loved ones besides my grandparents, and when they're gone, it's like I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
Well,
But
I feel that way about my parents because they've been there for me through everything, and they very easily could have walked away from me with some of the stuff that I've done to them, and they haven't. And my parents are now starting to get up there in age; they're in their late 60s, and it terrifies me.
yeah,
Like, if they're gone, like, what do I do? Like, I know I'm gonna be okay, but like, so I feel you, man. I
yeah,
totally feel you on that.
yeah. My grandfather's 75, and then my grandmother's 65. So,
Yeah.
and their anniversary November 23rd, fucking 45 years this year.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. So,
that's
anyways,
a big accomplishment, man.
dude, 45 years, bro.
I think my parents are like 43 or 44. I don't think they're quite at 45, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
They've been together literally since they're like 18 or 19 years old. High
Yeah.
school sweethearts and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah. Same there.
Different times.
Yeah. That's why they're real hard on me sometimes, but it's because they've never they don't drink or ever use drugs, nothing like that. My
You
uncle
want
did.
you want them to be hard on you though. You
Yeah.
know.
My uncle did, my mom did, and then my aunt not really until she got older. Then the drinking got real heavy, and then like I said, that was uh, due to her passing.
Well,
Uh,
alcohol's a demon that doesn't get enough credit for being bad. Listen, my friend, one of my best friends, his dad died from alcohol, 57 years old, with $1.5 million in the bank of retirement. Like 5 years before, had a six pack and just couldn't get away from it, and it killed him. He started like getting so drunk he'd smash his head off of things all the time, get concussions, and he just didn't wake up one night. That was just the
wow.
end of it. And booze is just as bad, if not as bad, and it's impossible addiction to get past a lot of the time because you have to see it everywhere you go.
Yeah, yeah. The last time I spoke to my aunt, I was homeless at the time, and we kind of were in an argument, yelling at each other. And a few days later, uh, she was gone, and so fucking it was just all bad the last time I talked to her, and I regret that, and it sucks.
But you know what? Listen, I don't think your aunt would hold any resentments, and I don't think that you should blame yourself for that, man. Because at the end of the day, you can't do anything about that. That when time calls, and
What
it's not
what
fair. It's not fair for you to burden yourself with that. It really isn't.
Tell me about this burden. My uncle, when he passed away in 2015, he was 1 year recovery sober from in Salvation Army. 1 year sober from no alcohol. Ends up winning 3,000 at bingo on my birthday, and I don't know what happened if he was like leaving the program or what, but asked my grandma if he could move in. And her rule is always you got 1 month to fucking get a job, and then you're out. If you don't have a job, you're out. And so he had a little bit of money, but my aunt paid for him, and since it was her money that paid for the bingo ticket, half of the 3,000 is hers, regardless. When we go gambling, or when they used to, if they paid for the bingo and you win, half the money's theirs. But yeah, so he uh he wanted to get some black tar heroin, and me being me, I got it and gave some to him, and I had a bottle of expired Adderall that I got from my cousin, and I've never taken Adderall to this day. I've never taken an Adderall pill, and they were expired by like 4 months. And there's probably like 10, 15 in them. I don't know, but I gave them to him. I gave them to my uncle Guy, and he had like a dub of some H, and went to sleep. And when we went to go wake him up the next morning, he was breathing real erratically. So we called 911. Paramedics came. He was on life support for a week, and recorded brain dead or whatever, and 0% chance to coming back. And so my grandma had to pull the plug on her own son. Um, so
But but I just want to say to you that also is not your fault. I know a lot of the time you might feel that way because of the circumstances surrounding it, but he's a grown man, and if you didn't give him that, he would have got it from somewhere else. At the
yeah,
end of the day, listen. Maybe like not that day, maybe later on down the road, but the thoughts are running. If once the thoughts start running as an addict, like I've been there, once the thoughts start running and you start convincing yourself that it's okay, it's a slippery slope from that point. So I don't think it's fair for you to beat yourself up for that. And
I
I know.
don't. I
Okay.
don't. Or at least
Okay.
I hope I don't. I think it's good that I have somebody. I'm finally getting it out. Um,
Yeah, and you can holler at me anytime, bro.
yeah, for
Anytime.
sure. Thank you. Um, okay, so I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out in 2009, the year I was supposed to graduate. I was only like 5 credits short. Uh, I'm 29 years old. I still need to get a GED, right? So I still need that. Dude, I was like that close to getting it in jail,
If
and
if
then
you're if you're if you're that close, then you're still that close.
yeah, but no, I would have got it, and then they released me, or like house arrest or something like that. So I couldn't, like, the test was the next day. The test was the next day, and then they like put me up for house arrest.
I think you should go get it, unless you're already working and making that paper.
I
You know.
I only work part time, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know what the excuse is, because there shouldn't be any fucking excuse, but I still haven't gotten it yet. Um,
I mean, we all get there at a different time. It took me a long time to figure it out, bro.
yeah,
Long time.
yeah,
35 years. You
yeah.
know. So
Um, all right, so should, should we hear a little bit about my father or what?
yeah, we can hear about your father for sure.
All right, like I said, he wasn't in the picture. Um, I met him for the first time in 2013. Uh, my stepsister, I guess you would call her, found me on Facebook, right? And it's not like it was hard to find me and my family, anyways. Our name, it was listed. We've had the same house number and address. He used to write me. He wrote me like twice, I think. And then my aunt told him, like, dude, if you're really not gonna talk to the kid, like, just don't even bother, because you're gonna break his heart. And so yeah, he just wasn't involved. But so they hit me up on Facebook. Um, 2013, that would make me 22 years old, 21 years old, March 2013. So I had a little bit of taste of like homeless, but not really, right? Uh, Homeless as in like sleeping on my grandparents' patio, like that's not on the streets homeless, right?
But
So
it still is, though.
I know.
Still is.
So I was working at Burger King, and every job I've had is literally like 2 miles from my house. So I just ride my skateboard or bike to work. Um, I've lived in the same 3 mile radius for since '98. Literally, like, we lived. Our first house was on one street. The next house was like 2 streets down, and then the apartment, was down the street, and then their next apartment like was another street down. So I've literally been in like a 3 mile radius my whole life. And when I was homeless on the streets, I'd stay like in the area where I'm comfortable, like where there'd be some homeless people or whatever. But anyway, so my father, first time meeting him, 2013. I went and lived with him for 7 months, from March to October, and when I left and came back, that's like the first time I started getting in trouble. I guess the first time I got arrested was 2014, and that was for trying to steal a tip jar that didn't even fucking have $10 in it, and I ended up having to do 9 days in jail for that. So that was my first one. I withdrawed through that because,
As you should have.
yeah, before, okay, when I left to Kentucky, uh, I was addicted. I was in active use.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that would help me like get off it and stay sober, and it did. dude, I went cold turkey. Like I went cold turkey. I had probably like a half gram, and I did it all because I'm not fucking taking it on the plane with me, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I was gonna have bad withdrawals cold turkey, but I guess I didn't. All the like excitement and mixed emotions of meeting my father for the first time, I didn't really feel any withdrawals, which was crazy to me. So, but not even like the whole time I was there, I made sure I was in touch with my friend to pick up when I came back, you know. So even though I was not using and I was sober in another state, I was still using in my head, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
The chasing game is half of it.
dude, so you know, 7 months sober. That's my first long stretch. 7 months of being sober, and I fucking calling my friend before I even got on the plane. Like, you better have that shit before when I get back. Like, and yeah, I got back. Landed off the plane. Got off the plane. Not even 20 minutes later, I was using heroin again. So that's the end of 2013. 2014, first time going through withdrawals, getting in trouble, 9 days in jail. The second time, I think was like a weed paraphernalia probably, which was like 30 days or 20 days, you know, good time. Uh, that was probably 2014 too. Um, and then I got trespassed from a Vaughn's because I was homeless. So like I was, that's where I'd like fly my sign to make money or panhandle a couple bucks to get food and whatever. And so the first time being trespassed, they read me a little citation card, right? And then after that, 2015, I think, no, yeah, 2014, um, I stole a gun from my grandpa, and that's what like almost got me a felony, but it wasn't. It was a gross misdemeanor slash felony or whatever, and it got dropped down to a gross misdemeanor.
So
And
sorry, what is the difference between a gross misdemeanor and a felony?
uh, gross misdemeanor, I guess, is jail time, 365 days, and a felony is prison. If you get a felony, you're going to prison, I think.
And it's a strike, right?
I guess. I
Do
don't
you
know.
guys have three strike in Nevada?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
To be honest, you know, I know California does for real.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
okay, that's why the guy wanted my mom's boyfriend murdered, is because he thought he was on his third strike, and the motherfucker didn't have one strike, dude.
So he's just fantasizing that he's this hardcore and it turned him into a hardcore. This is the thing. Like if I introduced you to my brother, you would have no idea that he's a killer.
Yeah,
You'd have no idea. He
and
looks like a nerd. He looks like a nerd. He's got his face in a book all the time. He chefs. It means, like you'd have no idea. Sometimes it's just a switch. Like I don't think my brother's walking around all the time as a murderer.
yeah,
I think in that moment, at that time, he felt that's what he had to do. And he's just prepared to go to that level that most people aren't prepared to go. Now, can I ask you a question?
yes, sir.
So those dudes that are responsible for that murder, um, how do you feel about them? And how have you been able to get like to work that out with yourself? Like, um,
Okay, so Kenny Layton is a guy that wanted them dead. Randy Williams is the guy that pulled the trigger. Um, just a few months ago, I saw Hard Intentions on YouTube, and I DM'd him and I said, "Hey, bro, how can I look someone up in the system, blah blah blah, to find out where they are, see their charge, whatever, you know?" He let me know, and I looked it up. Kenny Layton, prison and life with no parole, without parole. Randy Williams, the dude that pulled the trigger. It said on the fucking website, possibility of parole after incarcerated of 25 years, or he is over the age of 60 or some bullshit. And he can go, like I said, possibility to go up for parole. That shouldn't fucking say that though. That motherfucker has life without parole. So, it says there's a court date in 2028. If I'm alive, you'll hear from me about it. But if not, then whatever, do whatever the fuck. But how do I feel about it? I don't know, dude. Like that's what I was saying. Like I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't know how he is. He could be a really good person. He could. It's up to God, you know. God is the only one who can judge a person, who can, uh, yeah, whatever. So I don't judge anybody and like that and stuff like that, or I try not to. I don't know him, but like recently, probably just for like an excitement of it, I was like thinking, I'm like, should I hit him up and say like, cause I know he knows. Why else would it not say it? Um. Uh. So if he's remorseful and like really sorry, cause he was only 20 years old when he pulled the trigger. So I'm sure he didn't, and it was all because of meth and stuff like that. So the guy Kenny Layton, he owned an auto body shop and a bunch of stolen parts and stuff like that. And I guess my mom's boyfriend was like snitching on him or something like that, or accused of snitching on him. And that could be another reason. I don't know. There's a documentary on it, but the documentary isn't the whole truth either. The court papers are. Um, yeah, I don't
Yeah, well,
know.
the documentary is going to show what they think the viewers
Like,
are going to watch. Yeah.
yeah, so I can like send the guy a letter not in my name, because if it's in my name, then the detectives are gonna call us, and I'm not gonna be able to talk to the guy or see the guy. So I'm thinking about like, I don't know, writing him anonymously, and then try to find out who he is as a person, and then that'll like maybe calm me down a little bit on the thing that the website says. I don't know. But once I saw that, like I was tripping, dude. I'm like, fuck no, this dude ain't getting out of prison for shooting my mom.
Now, can I add something to that?
Yes, sir.
Um, so, uh, when my brother was up for his parole, we expected a major fight
Yeah,
from the other side, right?
yeah,
But it didn't come. And I'll say this: when my brother committed his murders, he was 21 years old, I think,
yeah.
and I do not think that he is the same person today that
Right.
he was. And listen, I'm a convict through and through.
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, I've lived with murderers for years and years and years. I've been homies with murderers on a different level, but him personally, I feel like he's remorseful for what he's done, and that's why I've personally been able to forgive him for what he's done to my family. I understand that the murder is a horrible thing, but I was more angry at the effect it had on me personally, and the effect it had on my mom and stuff like that. But hey man, I think you should try to reach out. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the answer you want, but I
right.
think then you'll know your position, right? You'll know where you stand. Like, is this somebody that I feel like I should gun for? Like I don't want him to come home, so I'm gonna make it my life's work for him not to come home, or do I feel like
It
this
all
is
depends.
somebody who's genuinely remorseful and genuinely feels sorry for what he's done, and maybe then I can give him a bly and move on with my life, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, regardless, I'm gonna move on, but I want him to be a good person and get out. Uh, but if you're not, then no. So I don't know, but who knows? Um, yeah. Either way, it's okay. So you know, I don't know.
Okay, so let me, can I ask you some more questions?
Yes,
So
sir.
I don't want the interview to go too crazy long. I will have you on for a second time though,
All
definitely.
right. All right.
But I do want to say this: what impact um, do you think that your drug addiction has played in your life as a whole, right? And how do you now stay focused on being sober? Like, what motivates you to be sober?
Um, just not wanting to be homeless anymore, and not being able to have a roof over my head. Uh, that's mostly to do with still having my grandparents, that's got my back. Um, but yeah, I don't want to be homeless. So you have to work, you have to pay your bills, and that's it. If to have a good life, or at least an okay life, you can't be on drugs and whatever, I guess. So I'm on methadone. I got all the way up to 130 milligrams. I'm now down to 75 milligrams, and I go down 5 milligram every 2 weeks. So I should be off of methadone before 2022, I guess, or like before the end of the year. Even not this year, but next year, um, or way before that. I don't know. And but yeah, so I'm just motivated to not use anymore. When I first got on methadone, I had a couple relapses, like once a month for like the
Yeah.
first 3 4 months, and I worked at Taco Bell for a year, and then it was like, so I was on my grandparents' patio in the beginning of February of 2018, and that's when I got on methadone and got a health card right away, got a job right away at Taco Bell. Worked there for like a year. In March 2019 is when I relapsed and like fucked my face up, and that was the last time I relapsed. So that was over a year ago, right? Um, and yeah, so then I started coming down off methadone, and
Okay, so um, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring you on for a part two.
can we
Uh,
please?
yeah, I'll bring you on for a part two, and we'll get into some more about you getting into the CDC, California Department of Corrections, and we'll get more into your addiction and stuff. I just think that you have such a long story, and it and
I
it seems like, man, like for me it would feel like at times it probably felt like you were just getting kicked while you were down, right? Like
I
every
guess
time
I
something bad
guess
happened, something bad would happen and something else bad would happen and you'd lose somebody else. Like, man, I just think that you're a champ anyway, just the fact that you're here. So let me tell you this. You have a YouTube channel. You
yeah.
are trying to you're trying to get a YouTube channel going. I want you right now, in your own words, to break down what your channel is about. Shout out your Instagram, shout out your YouTube, shout out whatever you want. This is your chance to just kind of tell everybody about what you're gonna do.
All
So this
right.
is your just give everybody a breakdown of what you're gonna be doing over there.
Like I said, I'm DBC Ash. Daily blessings coming. Um, I'm staying sober. I'm riding my skateboard. Uh, the dream is to become a professional skateboarder, but we're gonna take little baby steps. But yeah, I'm staying in recovery, and make riding my skateboard every day, and that's about it. And just daily blessings. Um, that's it. I'm 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 gonna I'm gonna do my baby steps, and eventually, have my own place, and hopefully start a family. Like, in the long term, start a family. But for right now, I need to get my own place, and grow up a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get, hey man, you're gonna get there. I'm telling you, it took me forever, and I lived with my fam forever, and I thought it was gonna be really difficult, and then I took the plunge, and once I took the plunge, it was like every time I made a next, uh, uh, you know, like I won, I did something right. I would feel better about myself. It gets easier and easier and easier. Listen. Our plan is this. I'm gonna bring you on in the next couple days. We'll do your
Okay.
part two
Yeah.
because I feel like you have a lot more to say,
Yeah, a
and
little bit. I
I
got a
know
couple more pages.
I know you got a lot to say, and
Bro.
I don't want to take any of the platform away from you, but I also don't
What?
like right now we're at 45 minutes, so I think that's a long video as it is. So
Okay.
I don't want to burn people out. But what I will do is bring you back on in a couple days and think about whatever you want to talk about. We can get back into your story, man. I just say that I have the utmost respect for you. The fact that you're even prepared to talk to this person and see if he's a genuine person, and you don't it's okay, don't worry about it, and you don't necessarily worry that uh, like you're prepared to maybe kind of let things go and move on with it if they show that they're a genuine person who has moved on and remorseful. And I respect that. That's a difficult position to take. But I think maybe going through the system and meeting some people yourself and kind of seeing the other side maybe helped you there. But
Yeah.
man, I'll bring you on definitely in the next couple of days. So if you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. You could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word. That would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all my videos. So Ash, shout out your Instagram. Do you have an Instagram that you want shouted out, or do you not
Yeah.
want that shouted out?
No, yes,
Okay.
please. Yes, please. It's DBC, D as in day, daily, B as in blessed, blessings, and C as in like cat. DBC dot Ash, ASH. Or I think maybe my name, Ashton Cox Mahoney. So,
Okay, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and like I said, I'll holler at you in a day or two. We can line up for the second part, and we'll take it from there, man. But I appreciate you for coming on, and I think you're uh, a very strong young man.
yeah, thank you, brother.
No problem, man.